Good morning. Good morning. On this Thursday morning, Thursday is always an interesting day. I have a lot of kind of weird things that go on in my schedule on Thursdays, and so I was a couple of minutes late this morning, but that's okay. I want to talk about problem solving skills today. I have noticed a tremendous amount of let's see, that's the wrong way to say it. Notice the tremendous lack of skills that people have in solving problems. I don't know what's happened. Are we not teaching people to solve problems anymore? Can they not figure out, hey, we got to do something here that makes sense so that we don't get stuck and we create this dependency? So, good morning, Tom. I see you said, hey. Good morning, Brent. Good morning, Miss Betty, and others who are popping in here this morning. I appreciate you coming on. Stephen Ware, that's who that is. I was trying to see who that little tiny face was over in the corner there, and it's Steve. So thank you for joining us this morning. I really appreciate it. And Brent says, excuse me, Brent says if people don't have problem solving skills, then he'll make more money. And that's a true fact. The problem is that we teach people, we create dependencies. And the thing that we can't do is create dependencies. We want everything. And I've been thinking about this. I wrote the article several months ago, and I rewrote it, and I'm going to share it in the group today. But I rewrote that article talking about the fact that we don't teach people how to read properly. I mean, they read for volume, and reading for volume accomplishes nothing. There's a difference between reading for volume and reading for enrichment. And so I wrote the article entitled, How to Read a Book for All It's Worth, so that we can start to learn how to read for enrichment, so that our lives get better, so we make some improvements, so we problem solve. And Tom and I mentioned that briefly yesterday, and in a slightly different way when we were at the coffee shop, about the lack of problem-solving skills that people have. They're just missing some stuff. And what happens is they try things, and so what happens is they'll say, okay, then what I should do is I should try this. Well, try isn't a commitment at all. Try is simply, I'm going to do this with the expectation that it might fail. Instead of doing what an entrepreneur does, and that's test things, and with the expectation that I'm going to learn something, and I'm going to take what I learn and I'm going to use it to solve the next problem that comes along, or I'm going to use what I learned from this to add value the next time along the way, or I'm going to take what I've learned from this and I'm going to move it in a direction slightly different this time, and we'll see if the results become different than that. And that's what an entrepreneur does, and that's the reason why they have such incredible problem solving skills. It's not that they were so smart to begin with. And that's what Albert Einstein said. He says, it's not that I'm so smart to begin with, it's just I never give up. And it's that testing process that takes place. It's walking that through, okay, I've tested this, and this is what happened. And I tested this, and this is what happened. And I'm going to take the results of those, what happened, and I'll put them together, and we're going to have a better path for success in the future. And that's really what I'm trying to share with you today, is that testing things, which we talked about yesterday. And by the way, that list turned out to be 36, and I have it, and I'll give it to you today. There'll be a link in this as soon as I log off this morning. So don't go away. It'll be here. But I have it'll take me a few minutes to get it in. But I have a list of things that an entrepreneur should test every day. These are things that you should test every day. And if this isn't second nature for you, maybe this is not the right avenue for you to pursue, but it's something for you to think about. Okay, these 36 things should be things that are on your mind all the time. Let's test that. Let's find out that. Actually got a phone call from a guy the other day and said, I don't know what's happening here. I said, well, did you open up your analytics page and take a look at the test? And it's like, okay, no, I didn't do it. Okay, that's what we have to do. That's how you learn. That's how you apply that testing skill and find out what is the result. because otherwise you're just trying things. You're just throwing stuff at the wall to see what's going to stick. So very important that you'll learn that those steps involved in testing. And this is not a complete list. I've got 36 things on this list. It's not a complete list. But it is a list to get you thinking. You should probably be able to come up with 100 or more. Not that you're going to do all of those every day, but those are things that you should certainly be focusing on as you're doing what you do. Test where you're going and test what the results are and test how things turn out. And your outcomes will be different. I promise that they will. Because an entrepreneur tests. A wannabe tries. They try things, but they don't necessarily have success at those things. And the reason is because they hadn't thought about, how do I test this so that I can get the results that I'm looking for. Testing is extremely important. And testing involves asking all the things I always talk about. Involves asking the right questions. You ask the right questions of the efforts that you're putting in. I was flipping through a book the other day. Something as simple as our church Facebook page. I could tell you what the results were on that page because I keep track of that. So I want to know what got this kind of response and what got that kind of response, because it's important to know those things. If you don't know that, I do all my Facebook lives from a Facebook app. And I can lay my results side by side to anybody who's using a third-party platform, and I promise you I get more results. I get more views because I tested it. Somebody said to me the other day, "How do you know?" I tested it. That's how I know, and I've got the results to show you. Every time, don't guess. Don't fall in love with stuff. Fall in love with the results, and figure out what you have to do in order to get them. That's what I'm trying to share with you this morning. And that's all that's really all that matters. I do this so that people can hear it. If people don't hear it, then what's the point? That makes sense? Hopefully it does. The next thing, that reading a book for all it's worth, the problem is pretty simple. If we are simply reading to get to the end, then nothing's ever going to change. Nothing's ever going to change. The person who reads to get to the end has read 17 books on time management and still can't figure out what to do every day. That's what happens. Instead of reading one book and making it change their life. Because they're reading for pleasure, not for enrichment. And there's a difference. They read it to check it off the list instead of to change a life. Big difference. Problem solving skills, where did they go? I don't have any idea. I have people ask me all the time, well, what if I just click here, what's going to happen? Click there and find out. Test it. See where it goes. All right. Thank you for joining me today on this Thursday. I'm going to sign off. I love you. Have a great weekend. I will not be back until next Monday. Unless I can think of something along the way. And I might do that. You never know. But thank you for joining me today. I look forward to talking to you next week. I have a new topic, a new thing to talk about. And I'll be sharing it right here at 8 o'clock in the morning instead of 9 o'clock like I used to. Thank you for coming in. I'll talk to you soon.